Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Suburban Driving with Miranda. As you can see, I've moved away from the SUVs this week and I'm in a pretty cool sedan, and trust me, this is not your grandpa's Cadillac. This is the 2020 Cadillac CT5-V, and that V is a very important letter. Let's find out why. I gotta say, I'm super impressed with Cadillac and how they've improved their vehicles over the years. Not that they were ever bad, because they weren't. I mean, Cadillac is synonymous with luxury and opulence. You know, when you say something is the Cadillac of blah, 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 you're saying that it's the best. And there's a good reason that Cadillac's been associated with that. Over the years, this has been a luxurious car. And also over the years, it's been stereotypically associated with old men. Who drives Cadillacs? Old men. Do I see an old man driving this particular bright red Cadillac CT5-V? Maybe, but I think Cadillac is really trying to appeal to a younger generation here, and they're doing it right. Now, truthfully, this is a big car. It's a big, wide sedan. It has a huge front hood. It's got a really big feel on the road. You know, the visibility is not super great in here. I have a really small rear window. The shoulder line is really high for me. The side mirrors are small. The A-pillars are big. But does that matter? No, because of the way it looks. I really, really like the design elements on this vehicle. I love the slashed front fog lights, the big beefy front end, like I said, the quad tailpipes in the back with the splitter. You know, it gives this vehicle a really aggressive, muscular stance on the road. Now keep in mind, this is already on winters, so I've got 19-inch rims with Michelin X-Ice tires, so you're not seeing the full effect of what this car could look like. You know, winter setups are always a little bit more demure than the summers. But all in all, the look of this car screams performance in a Cadillac way. So it's not in your face, you don't have huge wings, you're not having all these hood vents and racing stripes and all that hoopla. It just, you look at it and you know it means business, and I love it. Inside the Cadillac CT5-V, I can see where Cadillac is really trying to kind of youngify its vehicles. You know, this is pretty high tech in here. I love the touchscreen, the center stack, the way all the buttons are laid out. The HVAC is really, really nicely done. It is crisp, it's clean, it follows the line of the car, even the shape of the front hood. It's kind of mimicked in the way the HVAC is presented. And it's clean. I have a really nice size steering wheel. This is a suede covering on it. I have also suede on the back of the shift knob. I don't know how well that's gonna wear, especially come winter, etc. But for now, it's really nice and it's still in good condition. I have really nicely bolstered seats. Again, this is the V, so it is the performance version of the CT5. So the idea is that you would take this to the track and you want to be held in really well when you take those corners at high speed, because you will. They are very comfortable. The back seat seems really roomy. I have yet to put my child back there, but I feel like he will do very well. They're bucketed as well, so your butt sits further down. They're deep V's, which I think creates a little bit more legroom. And the trunk is a really good size. I was shocked to see how big it was when I opened it. All in all, that was great. The only thing that I find kind of weird in here, and I question the redundancy of it, is there are 3 areas to change the volume, like really within close proximity of each other. So I've got the volume knob here, which also turns off the screen if I'd like. And then down here, I have like a quick menu. So it's kind of like they're still giving the option. If you want to do everything on the touchscreen and up here, go for it. Use it as a tablet. If that makes you super uncomfortable and you're still not really sure about the whole touchscreen thing, it's okay. We have buttons and knobs down here. And I kind of really like that, because so often we ask for buttons and knobs because the touchscreen becomes difficult to use while you're driving, or it's just not intuitive and you got to slide and push and blah, blah, blah. But here you have another volume control. And then of course on the steering wheel, you also have volume here. So I can only assume that like they're super concerned with the level, you know, of you really being able to control your either Bluetooth phone calls or your radio tunes. Also back here, I've got my paddle shifters. I will speak more about the gears when I speak about the drive. They're interesting. I have a charge pad down here. I have a really nice big center armrest that also stores a lot of goodies. It also has a slot for a second phone or whatever it is that you want to carry there. 2 good sized cup holders. All in all, a really nice interior. Oh, and the double sunroof as well. It's always nice to give your back passengers a bit of sunlight as well. I know my son appreciates that, to not be held in the dark while I get a nice sunny bath while I drive. But yeah, it's a really well put together interior. Very driver centric. Even the lines on the dash, it really kind of closes in the cockpit and gives everything to the driver, which is as it should be. And of course, I've got the Bose performance speakers as well. Really nice crisp sound that comes out of that. But when you're driving this car, trust me, it is the exhaust note that you want to hear, not your radio. Now we come to the most exciting part about the Cadillac CT5-V, and that is the drive. Now that might be strange to say about a Cadillac. You know, I said before that these are known as like cruisers, saloons, gentle cars, but we need to keep in mind that this is the CT5-V. Now that makes a huge difference. So V is kind of like the M or AMG is to BMW, Mercedes to Cadillac. So it heightens everything up. So what I have in this lovely sedan is a 3-liter V6 that's good for 360 horsepower and 450 pound-foot of torque. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission. I'm going to get to that in a second. I also have drive modes. So I have sport, I have track, I have snow, and this is an all-wheel drive. You have noticed that in the exterior shot of the trunk. You can only get the all-wheel drive version here in Canada. It is available as a rear-wheel bias, or rear-wheel drive, south of the border. But here we sell it all-wheel drive, which also means that you're automatically paying $2,000 more for the price of the car, because that's what it costs to put all-wheel drive in this vehicle. Even though you are bound by it, you still need to pay the extra. So I don't quite remember the base price on this. It will show somewhere. But I can tell you that as it is sitting here, it's $67,000 for the sedan. I think that's a fairly decent price. You can get a lower end Corvette, or used to be able to get a lower end Corvette for that price, or around that price range between 60 and 70. But Corvette's not exactly practical. This can be a family car. And I love vehicles like that. And I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. When a vehicle can play 2 roles in its life and do it easily and without a hiccup and without, a rough ride on the road normally, or without your kids being cramped in the back, or without sacrificing trunk space, all those little things, and you can also take it to the track on the weekend, that is a good performance car. And that's what this is. I think the all-wheel drive really helps with its grip on the road, obviously. It handles really nicely. Yeah, it's big, it's wide. I have a big hood in the front. As I said, the visibility is not great in here. But in a straight line, this thing pulls. Now it is turbocharged, so there's a little bit of lag when it comes to that pickup. But if you're used to driving a turbo, which I have been for years, you go for that turbo lag. And just the sound of that engine, man. It's been a while since I've driven a high-powered vehicle, and hearing that makes my soul happy. There's the crisp fall air right now. It's feeding that turbo. It's really making it spool cleanly, and just, it puts a smile on your face, and that's what driving this car does. Now, of course, I haven't filled the tank yet. I'm only 2 days into the test drive, and I'm halfway through that tank of gas, but you know what? I'd say it's worth it spending the money on this to drive it, and to drive it properly. Let me get back to that 10-speed automatic transmission. So, yeah, the 10 gears. It has paddle shifters, so you can shift yourself. Honestly, I got so annoyed going through the gears that I just let it do what it wants, unless I'm on a side street and I want to hear the exhaust backfire from like 3 to 4. Then I pop it into manual mode just for that. Now I have the V button here on the steering wheel, which is similar to the sport mode down here. So it tightens up the throttle response, it tightens up the steering, it makes the exhaust note just a little bit louder. Of course I don't have the windows down right now because you wouldn't be able to hear me speaking, but I have had the windows down since the temperature suddenly went up and I no longer need to wear a toque and it's like 19 degrees out. Welcome to Canada. So I like to hear that exhaust note because it's really nice. It's got a good V6 grumble, growl, American muscle sound to it. They did a really good job with this, and driving it is not as boring as I thought it would be. I went into driving this Cadillac with a lot of preconceived notions and a lot of remembrance of previous Cadillacs that I've driven. And I get behind the wheel and it's kind of all been washed away. This is a young man's Cadillac, dare I say. You know, I could see somebody who doesn't want to buy a European sports car, but still wants that power, still wants that performance without the cost of maintenance down the road, because this is an American vehicle, so parts and labor are slightly cheaper than European counterparts. Somebody who wants that performance and wants that prestige and wants to feel that luxury, but doesn't want to pay as much for it down the road. I could see somebody go into this vehicle because it makes perfect sense. It's a good combination of that high performance and comfort that is Cadillac, and that cool factor because it looks great on the road, especially in this red. We're gonna give this a go. All right, guys, well, that's been it for me. I don't know about you, but I need more time behind the wheel of the Cadillac CT5-V. As always, you can hit me up at Miss Miranda L on Instagram or Twitter, Miranda Lifestyle on Facebook.com, or drop a comment below on the Suburban On Air. I'm getting back behind the wheels. See you next week, guys.